My name is Kendal Rivera.
Stacy Lippel.
Hi, my name's Shauna.
I am Sara Giovanello.
My name is Jorgie Garrido.
And I'm a teacher at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School.
Station 109 and Assistant 43 copy a shooting call. It's at 5901 Pine Island Road. It's at Stoneman Douglas, active shooter. 911, what is your emergency?
Please help, Stoneman Douglas High School. A shooter.
Okay, is anybody injured?
Yes, a lot of blood. Please help, please.
911, what is your emergency?
Hi, there's gunshots. I think the shooting is dead.
Are you at Stoneman Douglas? What floor are you on?
I'm in the 1200 hallway, 1216.
You're in a classroom?
I'm in the classroom. The lights on the door's locked, but a student was shot and went through the door.
You have a student down in your classroom?
Yes.
World Trade Police Fire, do you have an emergency?
Douglas High School, we got multiple students down.
It was Valentine's Day, so we all had flowers. And I was goofing off in my last class, and we were putting the flowers in our hair and posing.
I was in the middle of a math test, a trigonometry test, and that's towards the end of doing my work. The bell rang, the fire alarm.
Well, we had evacuated with the fire drill, so my whole class was in the hallway.
We were kind of on the stairs when we heard it, and everybody around us froze.
There was all this chaos like beneath us because we were on the second floor.
And then we just heard repetitive shots, and everybody just ran back where they came from, or back into any place that they could possibly get into.
One day you're saying hi to your friend at lunch, and it's Valentine's Day, and you're so happy. And, you know, just a few hours later, you're running away from your school.
My teacher's yelling at us that it's a code red, and I'm running with my friends.
I basically took my friends in my arms and I was like, we need to go now. The second I heard the noises, I was like, this is not good. You don't really, I think, assume that what's happening to you is your school is being shot.
I was right there in the hallway with the shooter, shooting down the hallway, and I was looking at him.
Someone took a video of the shooter in the hallway, and they were in the classroom I was in my freshman year.
I had two students who were actually in my creative writing class who were shot in the hallway, and they were killed. And I closed the door just in time. I mean, it was seconds after I closed my door that he shot my neighbor, and he shot into my classroom.
I was having a panic attack, an anxiety attack. I was rocking back and forth in the corner like I was in an insane asylum.
I'm sitting there in the school, still sitting there in the dark, holding one of my classmates' hands, and it's just like really surreal.
My little sister's a freshman, and she has two classes that aren't in the freshman building, and for a while she wasn't answering my texts because she was in an area of the school that doesn't get great service, and I thought she was dead.
Next day you find out that one of your friends is just gone and your teacher's been shot.
I was grazed in the arm by the bullet. I think if I kept my door open just a couple seconds longer, I could have been killed, and then the shooter could have gotten into my classroom because my door would have been wide open.
So I think about those things a lot, but I try not to because they kind of really hurt to think about. It was just so weird to see all that, you know? It's hard, I guess.
People got hurt, not just emotionally, physically in one of the most painful ways possible.
After that, you realize everything is very, very temporary and can be gone in an instant.
That was the scariest moment of my life.
I think that what we should do is have that be the first half, and then we all begin to we just begin to speak. For me, writing is a very personal thing, and it's a way that I can connect with people.
I do poetry for me. I do poetry because it makes me feel good. I do poetry because it gives me a way to vent.
I write because I have stuff that I want to say, and I don't know anywhere else I can say it.
I write to cope with difficult times as well as make a statement out to the world.
It helps get frustration out.
It honestly helps me sleep at night. I've struggled with a lot of things throughout my life, and poetry has helped me through a lot of them.
So let me just write this one bit, and then I'll let you guys hop in. our school had a certain level of, a certain type of lens put on us. So we felt that we should speak out about it in some way, shape, or form. We felt we had to say something.
We said Louder Than a Bomb is like April 3rd, I think.
We sat down and we thought, what could we do after a tragedy? And Louder Than a Bomb, we saw it was approaching, and we saw this is something we can do. We can cope.
Spoken word's a great way to kind of in your own little art form to express your thoughts in a intelligent and beautiful way, I think.
The club and performing and competing just gives them the ability to really be themselves.
Who's got that list of names? Everyone who's going to the competition?
It just gives them an outlet to express themselves. It's really their way to heal. So they immediately started writing about their experiences, their emotions.
But I had the idea that we could start almost talking to each other, because we're gonna be 4 of us in a line, yeah? Well, first of all, it was definitely a very clear choice, just because it was something that we all felt very strongly about and we all had an experience with, so it was a great group piece, just idea to do.
It just seemed like it was something we had to do. It seemed like it was our duty because we had been through this and had lived through this, and it felt like a responsibility almost to talk about it and to use our position and the platform of the competition to say what we thought needed to be said.
We recognized that this was something that sort of happened as a family. So we saw we could take this negative thing, turn it to something positive. It felt natural to do that.
I had a quick idea that maybe in the beginning we could read down the date together.
Oh yeah, I like that.
February 14th, 2018.
February.
That's what we say in the beginning.
Then can we say chaos? I think it's a great kind of glimpse into what a lot of the students are feeling at this time.
You miss the middle part, the part where we're all on our own and working through our own stuff, and we thought that it needed to be talked about.
It gave us a form of release.
I want them to see how we're just a couple teenagers confused and a bit worried.
There is power in taking all those crazy emotions and channeling them into a joint force.
We just want to get the message through to people that are having a hard time comprehending what we're going through.
Head down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know for a fact that all of this poem is going to be very genuine and very powerful on stage, but the most genuine line in the first half for me has to be that line. So the pacing of this, the articulation of it is really powerful. It's a swarmy feeling, right? Some of you are going to say angrily, right? I don't know if I'm doing this right. Let's try it one time. Put a beat after I'm all over the place.
I don't know how to feel. I don't know if I'm doing this right.
No one knows if they're doing this right.
When we say, I don't know if I'm doing this right, is when kind of replying to how we feel when people blame us for the methods we use to cope with it.
There's no handbook on how to do this.
Is there a certain way to react to it, or are we not allowed to cope with it on our own?
It's weird because it just feels like I'm not doing it right. I'm not coping in the right way.
A lot of people forget that we are just kids, and that we get confused.
Anybody else have any suggestions?
I don't know if I'm doing this right.
Y'all like that? Yeah, that's good.
You kind of question how you're handling things. You feel guilty if you're enjoying your life. You're not sure if you should be sad more than happy. If I feel that way and I'm a mature person, I can't even imagine how they feel.
I don't really know what I'm going through. No one really knows what anybody's going through.
I don't know what I'm feeling because I'm just so used to just putting it in the back of my head and being strong for people that need me.
A lot of the time I think it just makes me really, really sad and really anxious, and so sometimes it's really difficult to think about.
And many of them saw and heard gunshots, blood, dead bodies.
Well, every time I pull up into school, it feels like I can't breathe because I have to put on my clear backpack, step out of the car and say, yes, this is the murder site of 17 of my friends. Time to stay here for 7 hours. That's kind of haunting.
The scary thing is that I don't consider this the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Some of them are actually being criticized for being too emotional about it and still having trouble dealing with life.
I never thought that every time I walked out of the house, I would feel unsafe.
On the other hand, some people think, you know, how could you possibly be enjoying your life when some of your friends have passed away so tragically?
I've been feeling really guilty, like I'm having a lot of survivor's guilt.
When I was running from the school, I went the same way as the shooter did, and it occurs to me that I would have seen him walk past me at some point, so I had a lot of guilt relating to that for a long time.
I'm looking over my shoulder a little bit, which is not fun.
People that don't go to Douglas are kind of treating me like I'm kind of like a glass statue, that if they hold me wrong, I'll fall and I'll shatter.
I'm all over the place. I feel less like a person and more like an object in space.
Not acting, but being acted upon
by my surroundings. I actually love that. What do you guys feel? Like I'm a child again.
Beautiful.
And what they don't realize is whatever way they respond is the right way.
That it's okay to be confused. It's okay.
We sat down and we just worked things out. We tested ideas off of each other. We did a lot of revising, and then we ran it past the team. We got notes, we revised it a little bit more, and then we presented our finished piece.
My name's Kendal Rivera.
I'm Anna Bayak.
I'm Shaunak Magan.
I'm Bianca. And we go to Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School.
February 14th, 2018. The fire alarm rings, gunshots go off, chaos.
Where are you?
Where's my brother? Is this a drill?
Are you okay? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, well, no, but I'm safe.
You know what happened that day. But we can't close the news articles or turn away from the
aftermath. I'm adrift in a sea of complacency. I couldn't even bring myself to the funerals, to look at the pictures of the victims with my stubborn, dry eyes and half-real smile. I'm heartless and cold. At least, that's what I'm told. I don't know how to feel. I don't know if I'm doing this right.
The strangest things hit me in waves. I didn't even realize the bangs I heard were gunshots until the next day. I'm falling into restless sleep in my mother's bed like I am a child again. I'm all over the place. I feel less like a person and more like an object in space. Not acting, but being acted upon by my surroundings. I don't know if I'm doing this right. How can I silence my own anxiety when my mother is the one voicing my fears? How can I stop her tears when I can barely shut out my emotions? I'm caught in an explosion. Fragile minds are not helpful. In a whirlwind, I've been pushing so desperately against my own thoughts. The pressure is building. How much time do I have left until I shatter? I don't know if I'm doing this right. Are you okay? Are you sleeping? How can I help you forget?
Do you want to talk about it?
I can do.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'm doing this right. But I know that our legislators are not.
Something needs to change.
How many times must we plead for our protection? We've heard the numbers, nearly 40 911 calls and 2 tips to the FBI. This needle wasn't hidden in a haystack.
Now this government tries to save face, blaming hate, video games, and his mental state.
Well, the latter was surely a factor. I'll be reduced to stunned laughter if I hear any mention of helping this man. There's no proof that doing so would hinder his plan.
Depression doesn't shoot through walls and windows and classmates. 19-year-olds with guns do.
An AR-15. Is this weapon of war worth more than those we lost?
We're tired of begging for common sense.
We're tired of begging for our lives.
The news cycles on, but we're still here.
And our friends are still gone.
Even after the TV's turned off.
We can't keep digging our own graves for those 17 eagles that were ripped away. The 3,000 thrust onto the front lines that day are demanding change that's here to stay. Thank you.
Give it up one more time for our poets from MSD! Let's give a warm welcome for the man who makes this possible, Jason Taylor and Omari Hardwick! Y'all, give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up!
Where's the group from Stoneman Douglas? They still here?
Can they
you guys
come on
go up here,
stage?
please?
Can y'all come up on stage, please?
As we all know, on Valentine's Day this past February, something very awful happened in our country and really in our own backyard. And I want to thank you guys for coming out and blessing us with that piece at the very end. It means the world to me that you guys are here tonight. Our hearts and prayers go out to you. We love you. We appreciate everything that you guys have done in the wake of what happened. Something that should never ever happen in this world, and young people should never have to deal with it. Parents should never have to bury their children. But what you guys have done and continue to do, and the voices that you have, and you keep speaking out and pushing for change, makes us all so proud. And from the bottom of my heart, and I'm sure everybody in this room would feel the same way. Thank you. Keep it up. We love you guys. All right.
Absolutely.
We're here for
Thank you, guys.
Always here for you. All right?
It's amazing, man, that they're still able to function.
They were still here, and really the champions of the night. That they came and spilled out to us what happened to them on Valentine's Day.
For them to be that courageous to say, we will be the last high school. This won't happen again. Not on our watch. You know, not on our dime. It's pretty amazing.
It shows how powerful kids are. And as I told them on the stage, like, their voices are very, very powerful. Never let them be silenced. Again, I think they won the night. They won the whole night.
What we saw on stage was a culmination of hard work, grieving, and just perseverance in general. So I think what we saw was recovery.
I think it really helped heal them.
It's remarkable after everything that's happened to see them just go up and very bravely speak their truth and then come back down, and you understand everything that they've been through because you've been through it too.
It was just like this sense of accomplishment, like we worked really hard on this thing and we went up there and we did it and people got it.
We're telling our story, you know, and people are feeling our emotions in a way that we did.
It just felt like everyone was with us and was supporting us through everything that we've struggled with these past few months.
It was overwhelming. It was just really incredible to hear that all of these people were just standing up and like doing that for us.
They've never put so much emotion and so much of their guts into a piece than they have this year.
It was comforting, I think, to get that from the community, that response. It felt really good.
They are so strong. They have shown their resiliency at such a level that I'm in awe of them.
Something needs to change! How many times must we plead for our protection?
I think that they made it both personal, and yet at the same time it was a very strong call to action. And I really loved that about it.
I hope it sparks a discussion, and I hope the discussion doesn't turn into, you're a terrible person because you believe this.
We don't need change just for the community, but we need change for everyone, and I hope everybody can agree with that.
For things to get done, compromise needs to happen, and no side's willing to compromise.
Change is necessary. Change is necessary in the law. That's why the law is what it is. It needs to be changed.
We're tired of begging for common sense.
We're tired of begging for our lives!
We're tired of repeatedly begging for change because we want to stay alive and we want to stay safe.
Bad things can happen, but you can take those bad situations and like make them a point, you know, just glaring, obvious, giant point that cannot be ignored. Can't be ignored.
I hope that, like the country as a whole, they hear what I think the majority of people have to say, and they make some gun legislation.
This is a military weapon, and they're in the hands of, what, a 19-year-old kid?
I don't want another student to be found dead in school because of another person had walked into school shooting each other.
We're kids, but we're kids with rights. Our opinions are valid, and our thoughts matter too.
Who are we? Who are we?
What do we want? Change! When do we want it? Now!
I think it's kind of crazy that we are getting hate for speaking up about the fact that we don't feel safe. I don't think that's fair. Me and a bunch of my friends have been getting hate on Twitter that starts at like kids don't know what they're talking about, and escalated, for me in this case, where people are giving me anti-Semitic comments. I'm just trying to put out not just a positive message, but a message that we need help. And people are doing the opposite of that, and that hurts a lot.
I think it takes a big force to kind of turn people's heads in different directions, and this is what the world needed, unfortunately.
I know some of these kids. I've known them since they were freshmen. They've always been this way. They've always been extremely proactive. They've always had a strong voice. They are smart, they are articulate, but they're also teenagers. So I think the public really needs to give them a break, because they are really doing this because they feel that it's very important.
We don't need everybody on board, but we need enough people on board to get not exactly what we want, but enough to make us feel safe in school again.
It's happened all throughout history. This big thing happens and everyone is inspired to change.
The only good thing to come out of this is how unified our city is now. I would have never imagined Parkland being like this. Our school advocates are doing amazing. They're accomplishing things that I couldn't even begin to comprehend on February 13th. Their voices are being heard. The entire world is getting behind this. I mean, there was like over 1,000 marches all over the world. I think we're actually gonna get stuff done, and I can't wait to feel triumphant about that.
Everything is going to be better now.
You think it will?
I think so. It can't get much worse. It can't get worse than, having your school be shot up.
Conservative or liberal, if nothing's done at all, then it's just going to keep happening.
We can't keep digging our own graves!
This is not a poem, no. This is a eulogy, a song to be sung for those who can no longer speak their life stories, although you should still be writing yours right about now. Helena, I still remember your smile. The one you would direct at me when I passed you by at lunch, and you would ask me how my day was, sometimes giving me a hug if I needed it. Right now, I need one of those. Helena, I swore to myself that I would fight for you, so that no one would ever have to die like you, protecting their best friend, washed away by a sea of gunshots in a classroom. Helena, though the rage of rallies and the passion of protest fuels me, on some days it falls away, and all I can think of is who I lost. Helena, somebody once told me that you died with a girl holding your hand, telling you it was going to be okay as she ran her hand over hair that looked so much like mine. My mother said we could be related. Helena, I've never known a God, never seen a heaven, but for you, I know there must be something. For you, I hope that heaven is warm and quiet and safe and feels more like coming into an embrace than it does being torn away from the world. Helena, I know there's a heaven for you, and I hope to see you there. Thank you.